2023 Trek Madone Slr 9, size 54, weighing 7.5 kilos, 16.5 pounds. First of all, I'm not weak, you're weak. And second of all, hey, how's it going, everyone? GC Performance here, back with another video. Today, I just want to give a quick shout out to B&J Bicycles for letting me do a video on this Trek Madone. This bike in particular model is sold, but they do have more of these ones coming in, and this blue color is absolutely beautiful. So big shout out to them, and thank you again to them for letting me do this video. Without further ado, let's get into this video. This here in front of me, guys, is Trek Madone 2023. Okay, sorry about that. This is the Trek Madone 2023 SLR 9 in the Shimano Dura-Ace 12-speed model. This is a size 54, and this thing comes in retail at $12,749, which in my opinion, in terms of the hyper bike or super bikes out there, that is a pretty good bargain compared to other brands out there. Again, this bike is lacking a power meter compared to the other brands, but this bike having a full Dura-Ace group set, their top tier carbon on the specific model, carbon fiber everything from wheels to frame to handlebars. This is actually a really good deal for this bike compared to other models again. And again, this is their top tier bike. This is their flagship racing bike. In today's video, we're gonna go over this whole bike, talk about the paint job on it, talk about the features on this bike. And yeah, if you guys have any questions, let me know in the comment section below. And thank you guys. So with the Trek Madone, this is their 7th generation of the Madone. They were able to make this bike, I believe 19 watts faster than the previous generation of the Generation 6 Madone. By doing that, they made it a little bit lighter, they made it more aerodynamic, and they're able to make that 19 watts faster happen in the wind tunnel. Also that, they said 60 seconds faster over an hour compared to last year's model, or the Generation 6. Again, this was more enhancements made to the aerodynamics of the bike and also lighting it up. They did take into account for the new UCI rule change, which was allowing road bikes to have more carbon fiber or more depth back here for aerodynamics, and also so you have a bigger head tube right there for more carbon fiber, and then also for the bottom rack area, this looks much more beefier than a normal road bike usually would. This was just approved by the UCI as well to allow much more carbon fiber to be used here to make it more aerodynamic, and the more carbon there is in this space is gonna make it more aerodynamic. Obviously, if this whole bike was to be one full solid piece of carbon, it'll be much more aerodynamic, but if you get hit in the crosswinds, you get blown around like a bag in the wind. So that's the way they're able to make this thing much more lighter. They took away their patented ISO speed decoupler in the rear, and they substituted out for the new ISO flow, which is this big old hole you got back here now. And the idea behind this is that this is going to, one, with removing the ISO flow, or sorry, with removing the ISO speed, you're going to lighten up the bike. The ISO speed used to be a device that will go right inside of your top tube right here, right along the seat post, which allow, sorry, there's a lot of traffic today. A lot of people are feeling themselves today. The ISO speed decoupler was allowed to make the rider a little bit more comfortable. It'll take away some of that vertical compliancy, give a little bit of cushion on the seat post area. They got rid of that because they're having a little bit of issues with it, and there's too much options for the rider. So they got rid of that completely, made this lighter. They put this ISO flow hole here. One, to help with aerodynamics. Two, they put it right underneath the seat post, and there was no coincidence behind that. With this free flowing over this hole right here, it's also going to add some vertical compliancy to that as well. So you're not just sitting straight on a rigid carbon fiber seat post. So this also allows comfortability with some aerodynamics to it as well. You do have a carbon fiber seat post that goes into the frame. They do make different sizes of this before. In the previous video, I said that these were cut to spec and you lower them. That's not true, that was my fault. The Trek Madones actually have different seat posts that you would go ahead and insert here for different lengths if you needed to. But they do make this bike in a ton of different colors. This is my first time seeing the baby blue in person. The baby blue, the white with the matte black, you can't go wrong, especially with the Shimano Dura-Ace all black group set. This bike looks very clean, very flat, very fast. I absolutely love this color. The baby blue as a kid to me was one of my favorite colors, so I think they did a knockout job on this bike. So let me go through the components and the drivetrain with you on this bike as well. So with the cockpit up here, this is Trek's new integrated one-piece handlebar and stem combo. This is actually made specifically for the Madone. If you were to peel back some of this handlebar tape here, you have this little Madone logo on here. This was redesigned for this bike this year. The cables are ran through the handlebar, through the stem, and then down into these spacers. These are breakaway spacers as well, so just in case you want to go ahead and lower your stem without having to cut your steer, you're now able to do so by just removing some of these spacers and putting a spacer on top That way you don't have to change out your whole bar and stem configuration and buy another one-piece bar and stem just in case you want to figure out if you need to go lower or not, which is nice. So as a customer, you get to have these little breakaway space right here for your fit as well. With this as well, they do have this little integrated proprietary mount system right here. So you can run your Garmin, your Wahoo, your Kata, your GoPro, whatever you want to run on here. You can stick this out front here. You're seeing a lot of companies do this with the integration of the one by or the one carbon fiber handlebar piece and stem situation going there. So you're seeing much more people do that, and they just throw it in there. And they're making their own in-house mounts for this as well. For the handlebar tape on here, they're running their own bond trigger tape. Very sticky, very tacky. And then for the group set on here, like I mentioned before, this is the, it's 5 o'clock traffic, guys, I'm sorry. This is the Shimano Dura-Ace 12-speed, 12 gears in the rear, 2 in the front, semi-wireless group set now. There are only 2 cables running from this bike. It's one from the rear derailleur, one from the front derailleur. They're running into the battery. The shifters on here are going to be a wireless situation being paired by the rear derailleur. And they have 2 hydraulic hoses, one running to the front disc brake caliper and one running to the rear disc brake caliper. These things are very nice, smooth ergonomics. You have these buttons up here that you can actually adjust or repair to make them if you want for shifting. And then they made these ergonomics shifters on here to be a little more comfortable with a wider paddle. And if you ever want to check your battery status of your shifter, because these are now wireless, you press and hold down both buttons at the same time. You'll get a little green light indication on there to show you that the shifter is either red or green or red. For the wheels that come on here, because this is their top tier flagship bike, you're going to get the Bontrager ELS RSL 51 wheels. These are their top tier creme de la creme wheels. Bladed spokes, their own Bontrager hub, which looks very lightweight. Usually has DT Swiss internals inside of there. These things are tubeless ready, and they come paired with these Bontrager R4 320 tires. These are my first time seeing these tires in stock. They look super, super smooth, super fast, almost look like sew-ups or tubulars. These are ran tubes right now. I want to say these are a littering and 700 by 25C. Usually these bikes come stock with a skinnier tire in their front now and a little bit wider tire in the rear. The wider tire in the rear is to add compliancy, skinnier tires for a little bit better of comfort and aerodynamics to be a better fit profile for this rim depth. But yes, it's a 51 millimeter rim depth for front and rear. These are not staggered like some new wheels out there, but they look very, very clean. For the disc brake rotors on here, we have Shimano Dura-Ace or XTR rotors as well, 160 millimeter in the front. We have Trek Madone's own through axle right here, and we have the new Dura-Ace disc brake caliper right here as well. 10% wider clearance to allow better stopping power. For the Trek Madones, they have a T47 bottom bracket. This is a threaded system that's very close to the frame to make similar to a BB30. So that way you get less cups outside the frame, so you get a much better feel closer to the frame when putting down power. It does come equipped with a Dura-Ace 12-speed crank on here. We go over to this side right here. Bada beep, bop, boop. On this crank, it's going to be a 172.5 crank arm with a 5236 chainring. We do have a Dura-Ace front derailleur on here with a Hyperglide Plus and an XTR and Dura-Ace 12-speed chain on here as well. We have water bottle cages access right here. We have 2 positions here, 2 positions here. We have another position right here. If you want to be lower or higher, you can probably also add a tool for like a multi-tool on there as well. One thing I do like about Trek, that they do give you an integrated chain catcher right here on this side, so that way if you're ever sprinting your little heart out, you're going for the win, and you drop a chain by some mishap because your mechanic sucks, not me, that could happen, and you had a little chain catcher so it ruin this baby blue paint job. We have a little assembled in USA sticker right here, Madone number 7, SLR 800 series OCLV. OCLV, their 800 series, is their top line carbon. They make one more carbon fiber that is one tier underneath that. That's going to be OCLV 500 series. That will come on like the Madone Gen 6s. Right now, the Generation 7s, they don't make in a carbon fiber that's anything less than OCLV 800, okay? Jesus. I gotta recover from that. Dude, I swear to you, I feel like I'm the freaking Wild West right now, and I don't even know, like, I got people blowing train horns. I got this restaurant across the street on the main street blasting Caribbean music. People are honking at me. I'm getting scared. Gosh, okay, we gotta focus up, we gotta be professional. Okay, we do have a nice, beautiful Madone logo right here on the top. It is a matte carbon fiber feeling right here with a gloss paint job. Going to the rear of the bike, we have an 1130 Dura-Ace cassette with a Dura-Ace Di2 12-speed rear derailleur. We have our little direct mount hanger right here. This is where you're going to charge a bike at, like I mentioned before. This is your brain to the unit. This is where you're going to pair it. This is where you're going to tear it at. This is where you're going to trim the gears at. This is where you're going to charge it at. This is where you're going to do everything out with the bike. This is new for that. There's no more junction ports on these Dura-Ace, so that is a nice option. And then for the wheel on the rear, like I mentioned before, it's the ELS RSL 51. They do not have staggered wheel depth, so it's the same exact depth as the front. These are tubeless ready, but right now they're running tubes. Heated up here, the Bontrager R4 320 wheels. Again, these things look super slick, super fast, super sleek. You have this little ISOFlow hole right here. What the hell? What am I doing? Oh God, not again. And then, and then for the rear rotor, it's a 160mm rotor. They do have an adapter on here. You can run 140s front and rear if you wanted to, but you have a 140 rotor here. This Bontrager for the rear through axle can be taken off and swapped to the front to go ahead and remove your front wheel just in case you get a flat and you don't have a tube on there. And then last but not least, we have the saddle, which is their Bontrager ELS RSL saddle. Nice wide cutout. Super big support system right here, so if you do want to creep up on the saddle, it's a little bit wider for those people who want to creep up on here. Carbon fiber rails, carbon fiber body. Beautiful bike. Guys, thank you guys so much for coming along on this journey with me. It has seemed like a weird video to me, but hopefully you guys will love it. I wanted to do this video because I want to show off this color to you guys because it's absolutely beautiful. Again, thank you to B&J Cycles for letting me do this video. If you guys are interested in this bike, hit them up, or if you have any questions on this bike, let me know in the comment section below. I'll see you guys later. Here comes the free up sound test on the Bontrager ELS RSL 51. Very quiet, nice hum to them, sound great. I'm sorry guys, I forgot my microphone. I'm a huge disappointment. My wife tells me all the time. Bye.